Hello, hope you're all well and welcome back to Benjy's Cafe podcast with me, Ben Harlow. Joining me this week in Benjy's Cafe is the former England cricket captain, Adam Hollioake. Adam is one of the most successful cricket captains of all time, leading England's one-day side and winning 9 trophies as captain of Surrey between 1997 and 2003. After retirement from cricket, Adam entered the world of boxing and MMA fighting, becoming one of the rare athletes to have been professional in 3 different sports. He has also raised thousands of pounds for the Ben Hollioake Fund, the charity set up in the memory of his late brother Ben.
I'm resilient and I'm strong now from my journey. And that gave me some peace along the way to know that whilst those things are hard, I've grown from them, and that I've developed into a resilient and capable of getting through hard times. Like now, the only thing I have fear is I'm not scared of dying myself. I'm not scared of anything happening to me. I leave my kids alone, and there's nothing I can't get through.
Adam is currently the batting coach for the Pakistan national team and is one of the busiest and nicest guys you could meet. It's an uplifting and inspiring episode. Pop the kettle on and enjoy listening. Welcome to Benjy's Cafe, Adam Hollioake. Hey, Adam, good day. How are you?
Good, mate. That was a bit of an introduction.
Well, you deserve it. Good to see you. You looking well? You feeling good?
Mate, I feel great. Yeah, I feel, especially now after all that stuff you said about me, mate. It's like, mate, I've got a big head. We might not even fit my head in the camera.
Hey, sometimes I think it's nice to be reminded of people's successes. I don't think we kind of celebrate that enough. Do you really?
Nah, you're right. I think that's true. It's funny, isn't it? People are shy. I don't know if we're embarrassed to say things or acknowledge people's accomplishments, but certainly something that I'm trying to do as I get older. I sort of just try and tell people they're looking good, or just simple things like that, because I just don't think there's enough of it in the world. There's a lot of bad stuff going on, but we don't always do that.
It's so interesting, Adam, isn't it? Even sometimes when you say, hey, good morning to somebody, they look at you like you've asked them the most personal question in the world. It still makes me chuckle. For me, it's just natural as it is for you to be friendly. It's good to see you. I've seen you on the cricket circuit and interviewed you, Adam, numerous times over the years, and it's really lovely to chat to you away from the cricket circuit. And what I want to say is just to thank you, Adam. You're always so polite. You remember my name. But then I see you mingle with fans and dignitaries at the cricket, ex-players, and you just seem to be able to be so friendly to everybody. I think you should be proud of that. Not many people have that skill.
Yeah, so I try and do that, Steve. Yeah, no, I don't know. I think my mum and dad have sort of been pretty pivotal in my life, and my mum's she's probably one of the few people that can make me still sit down if I'm outside, getting ahead of myself. She's like, and she's devout Christian, and she's always, you've got to have good manners, you've got to be respectful, you've got to be disciplined. It's literally the easiest thing, just to, like, I don't get it, like, why people have to be rude, or it's just so. And you feel so good after you've just said something nice, or you've just been polite, or. And I'm now making myself sound like I'm a martyr or something like that, because back in the day when I was playing, I was anything but that. I let the pressures of, I wouldn't call it fame, but a lot of people wanting to talk to you, and the more people who want to talk to you, you can easily get ahead of yourself and just not handle it well.
You mentioned there, Adam, and I think it's so interesting, more people wanting your time during your playing career, and certainly as a captain. Was it very difficult to remember your core values when almost you're absorbing 10 of your teammates, you're flying the flag for your county or the England national side? How do you stay true to yourself? Because there are so many external pressures, aren't there?
Yeah, there's 2 sides to it. I don't want to just say, all athletes who are rude to, fans or people are no good, because there's 24 hours in a day, probably 8 of those you sleep for. There's 16 hours. There's probably, you're probably 4 or 5 hours in every day where you're exposed to people in the crowd and, or, just members or fans. And it's very easy your time becomes precious because you're being dragged in so many different directions. It's very easy to get frustrated and then try and shun your responsibility. I guess I feel like part of the job of when you sign a contract as a professional athlete, part of that, it doesn't say it in the lines, in the contract itself, but is to kind of give something back to the sport. And I know that, like I said, it's not written in there, but you kind of, I think that's subliminally or subconsciously, that is part of the gig, and we're in a blessed position.
Madam, looking back at your playing career now, are there any kind of little things that you wish you'd done differently? Certainly little mechanisms that could make you switch off, that could reduce that kind of, that tension?
I'm pretty lucky in that regard. I've always been relaxed. I've never struggled. And I go to sleep within a minute. Once I get to bed at night time, I sleep. I don't worry about stuff too much. I've got regrets though. Often I think back on the way I played the game, and I got my regrets there. I've sort of been going through this internal battle in my head where I look back and I was like so competitive and just, you're judged as a professional sportsman, you're judged on wins and losses. So I'm a competitive human being, and sometimes I didn't always play the game in the spirit it should be played in attempt to win. So I was, I just wanted to win so badly. And it was only, I think it was last summer, I had an epiphany. I was watching that game at Lord's, and Alex Carey rolled the ball and ran out Johnny Bairstow there. And, and they had an opportunity there to call him back and say, look, hey, that didn't work out how we wanted it to work out. We don't want to be seen to be bad sports. But in the moment, look, I'm not judging because I would have 100% done the same thing back in the day. But I also know it would have been the wrong thing, because that legacy will live on forever. It's like, I regret the probably my overzealous and over competitive nature back when I was playing. There's some beautiful people in cricket, and I didn't always do myself justice with just wanting to win so badly. I certainly wasn't very nice, and I've kind of looked back at the times and I regret that really.
You mentioned the world of cricket there, Adam. There's some wonderful characters. How much did you draw from other characters to kind of boost your character and your knowledge of life? Would you like to learn from somebody, say, somebody quieter in the dressing room and think, oh yeah, I can apply that to give myself a better life? Was it interesting having to kind of conduct all these different characters and personalities within a dressing room?
Yeah, well, I think the interesting thing for me was I was so young when I got the captaincy. I was like 21 of Surrey, and Surrey's a big club. And I wasn't really set up for that. Alex Stewart was there, Graham Thorpe. It was 7 other cricketers in the side that were better players than me, and those guys were all older as well. So it was an intimidating job, and I had to grow really quickly because it's not easy to walk into a room, tell Alex Stewart what to do, or Graham, any of these guys. They're impressive in human beings, you know what I mean? So I had to grow pretty quickly. Alex Stewart's been a mentor of mine since I was 16 or 17, and actually to this day continues to be that. So I still ring him up, run things by him. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I had to grow into the job really. I had to grow, and I learned so many different. Because I was so young, when you're 21, you've got so much to learn as it is anyway, and like when you're in an environment like that, you can't help but learn. So I was lucky to be captain at that time in that change room.
We talk a lot about on this podcast about showbiz, entertainment, and cricket is an entertainment business. Did you enjoy having to be able to make decisions that would excite thousands of people watching you? It must have been a huge buzz?
I don't think I ever. I enjoyed captaining, yeah, 100%. I'm not sure I ever really, until you, that's a good question, because until you mentioned it, I never thought about, I think when you make a decision, you're never quite sure how it's going to turn out anyway. So you make the decision you think it's the right one. And with the evidence that's before you at the time, it's always the best decision with the evidence you've got. But time's really the only judge of that. Do you know what I mean? So you think you're making the right decision, and sometimes it turns out not to be. But you know, I always say, we can never make a mistake with the benefit of hindsight. So yeah, I didn't ever think of it as I'm going to make this decision and the crowd are going to love it straight away, because I think there's probably half the crowd that are thinking it's the right decision, and but I still sit here now yelling at the TV when guys make decisions. Oh, what are they doing? Well, this is ridiculous. And they're like, oh, they got it right, actually. I enjoyed managing people. I enjoyed the camaraderie and creating a change room that was happy. I guess the thing I'm proudest of is how happy the teams were that I captained. And that to me is the best thing. I mean, whether they're successful or not successful is largely dependent on the talent that you've got available to you. But the one thing I'm most proud of is I don't think I had a team. I never captained a team that wasn't happy.
Well, Adam, I come from a show business background, as you know, from entertainment. I've had some real tough lows when a contract is finished and you've had a wonderful time with wonderful people you've learnt from about the business and about life as well. You're playing to thousands of people every night on stage. And it's very hard to get a balance, I find, when that contract finishes. You've gone from up there, if you're listening, I'm pointing upwards, to suddenly that's taken away from you. But you must be so proud of the way you've moved your life forward after retiring from the game, but also seeing how well your teammates have done, because it is, let's not beat about the bush, it's bloody tough when you suddenly stop a huge part of your life, isn't it?
Mate, it's incredibly hard. One of the things I've taken up since retiring is I'm a feature writer for a lifestyle magazine out here. And one of the articles I was tasked with writing was about the mental health of ex-athletes. So I kind of, I knew a lot of that topic just from personal experiences and from friends and what have you, but I had to do a lot of research as well as part of the to look into what was going on, and it's quite astonishing. When you're in a profession like acting or performer, musician, or some of the cricketer, sportsman, actor. These are highly sought after jobs, but they have a lifeline. You know what I mean? So um, some of the statistics that I discovered, the mental health amongst ex-athletes and the rates of divorce and financial woes, it's unbelievable. The statistics are incredible, because you think about, I'm not sure actors can probably go on a bit longer, or musicians or what have you, but the sportsman has a pretty defined period, and let's say give or take, that's 20 to 40. That's if you play a 20-year sports career, you've had a very successful career.
Yeah.
So, but at that stage, let's say I have that 20-year career. At the beginning, I'm presuming we're starting at the bottom of the professional rankings, and let's say culminating in ending up at the top of the rankings. And usually people you've just dropped off. That's why you don't retire when you're still going up. You usually retire when you start to drop off. Or so that signifies the end of a very successful career. You've done that, and then if I go and work in a business, I might start off as the coffee boy, water boy, or what have you, and then I work my way up. Ultimately, if I get to 40, I might be the CEO. And then I just try and stay within the CEO. I'll go and find a job at another company, in a bigger company, but also in the position of CEO. So your career is always on an upward trend. Whereas when you, as an athlete or whatever, and then it comes to the end, you're kind of down, and you got to start your new career from the bottom again. So it's kind of it's unusual. It's not a normal cycle. So and then add to that, the adrenaline rush of crowds and the highs that you get. I mean, the highs that I had playing cricket and fighting. The only way I've been able to get through it successfully is just to accept that I'm never going to have those highs again. I have other highs. I enjoy spending time with my kids and watching their sport, but personally, I'm never going to hear the rush of the crowd, or the roar of the crowd, or anything like that ever again.
I think we can hear the roar of the thunder behind you, can't we? Is it pretty stormy there in Oz?
Well, I'm in the Gold Coast, so we're tropical out here. So usually we get these storms at this time of night sometimes. So
Oh, I like nice dramatic backdrop to the podcast. I like it,
yeah,
Adam.
thanks, mate. I'll do what I can to.
Oh, it's much appreciated. You can look back and think, God, I've achieved so much, and you must be so proud of that, and how those highs actually have helped you be able to adapt your skills in future life as well. I mean, I would say you're pretty fearless from the outside, but you must have some difficult days. But do you harness those highs on the cricket field to propel you forward in life with the values you have?
I think everybody does, mate. I mean, I would I would challenge you to say that you would do the same. I think we're all. That's why there's such a topic as history. But I think because
Yeah,
history is the past. Learning from the mistakes or successes of the past. So I think you're foolish if you don't draw on that experience to try and enhance the future. So I've had a lot of. Everyone goes, man, you've had an amazing career. You've had so many highs. I said, I've had a lot of lows too. So I've had a
yeah,
lot of lows. So and lows are a part of life. Everyone, we go through them, so you can choose. I mean, I know it sounds corny, but you can choose to they would say you either win or you learn. So, and that's more of a referral to sport, but I don't think it's the same in life. You can, with the hard things that have come in life, instead of just trying to get down on them, which I have. Hey, I'm not saying I'm impervious to sadness or anything like that, because I've endured some horribly sad times, but I now draw on those when I encounter new um, sadness, and I've started studying Stoicism, and one of the things of that is one of the famous quotes, I think it's Marcus Aurelius, was amore fate, which is the love of fate. And that's like, whatever comes my way, I love it, because I think, if it's a bad, I mean, I'm within reason. God willing, nothing happens to my children, but anything else that comes my way, I'm like, well, I can deal with it, and if I can't deal with it, I'll learn from it. So, and I just try and look at things that way, and that's really helped me at the times when I'm stuck in a rut or not being able to get past. You can get stuck on things when they're going wrong. So um, that the study of that has really kind of helped me get through some hard times.
your late brother Ben, my God, what a player, Adam, and that must have been a huge loss. And how do you even begin to move forward from that in life? Was it the the buoyancy and support of friends or family, or did you just think, I don't know what to do here? What is that situation like? You must look back and be so proud of what he achieved. And is his energy still within your life, within your family, would you say?
Yeah, I've got a saying, and the energy that he had is sort of touched us, and that the relationship lives on. Okay, he might be
Yeah,
dead, and again, this is like me sounding like I'm really in control, and um, it's like it's 22 years, so
yeah,
I'm on a learning curve, and I'm evolving as I go along, and there's been some horrible times, like obviously the initial shock and denial and guilt of what happened, the initial emotions that happen, and then um, I'm pretty much a man's man,
yeah,
and then I feel like I was very strong for my family, and I didn't cry a lot. I didn't really show a lot of weakness. which is I'm not bragging about. It's just a typical male um, coping mechanism.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I didn't really deal with it for the first 5 years. And I'm here to tell anyone that is going through grief or has to go through grief. Grief will wait for you. It's it won't. You think you're beating it, you think you're avoiding it, and it'll wait. It got me after 5 years, you know. So one day I just woke up and I was broken, and I had to deal with it then. So this is after I'd retired and went through some hard times, and you then I began piecing things back together, and maybe accepting that it was a terrible loss, but I was never going to be as happy again, and just accepting that in itself was helped me move forward a little bit. And then since then, there's been many things which you learn and you begin to understand, and then bringing new life into the world. I've got 3 kids, and then it gives you a bit of perspective of the cycle of life. So trying to focus my attentions into my kids. So it's such a complex topic.
And I think it takes a good character, doesn't it, to be able to tap into those emotions, and the way you've harnessed those emotions to move on and pass the love, spread the love to your family is I've nothing but admiration for you, Adam. I really have.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, I always say it's like everything's relative as well.
Yeah.
And one of my things, is if you take a toy off of a 2-year-old child, they'll often like lay down on the floor, and they'll, it's like the end of the world. They start crying and kicking and having a tantrum because that's the worst thing that's ever happened to them in their life.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing that's ever happened to them. But then the next day you return the toy to them and they're like, okay. Then you take it off them a few days later when they misbehave again and they have another tantrum. After a while, after they're 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you take the toy off them. They've developed some resilience. They realize, hey, okay, I get the toy back eventually. So maybe just there's no need to carry on. So, and it's much the same in life. I remember up until 1996, so I've been 24, 25. The worst thing that happened to me is I scored a duck in a game of cricket, or you know, maybe burnt my toast, or like got a parking ticket down on Northcote Road in Clapham, or something like that. Was probably the worst thing that happened to me. And then I lost one of my best friends in a car accident, Graham Kersey. They're my teammates at Surrey, and man, it hit me so hard. It hit me so hard because I wasn't, you know, I'm still like reeling from having my toy taken off me when I was 2 years old, or these
Yeah.
little minor things. And that it took me to, and I was like, why is this happening? Why is this happening to me? And then my brother dying, and then since then, unfortunately, as we get older and we sort of journey through life, unfortunately, this is just statistics. I'm not a great mathematician, but the longer we're here, the more likely there is for you to have to go through tragedy or heartbreak. So since then I've had to draw on those coping mechanisms of
Yeah.
getting through things, and that's the one thing that is better is once you go through. My brother died, and there was times I lay there and I'm like, man, why have they taken my brother away from me? And then I had some financial troubles. I got caught out in the global financial crash in 2009, and then I turned to boxing and cage fighting, and there were times where I was like, why is this
Yeah.
happening? Why is this happening? And then one day I had a change of, I was like, yeah, okay, this has been tough. This has been really hard. But like, I was like, man, you've taken my brother off me. You've taken my money. You've put me in a cage. You've made me fight for my living. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to me now? What are you going to do? How are you going to hurt me? Like, leave my kids alone? And there's nothing you can do that's going to hurt me because I'm resilient and I'm strong now from my journey. So, and that gave me some peace along the way to know that whilst those things are hard, I've grown from them, and that I've developed into a resilient and capable of getting through hard times. Like now, the only thing I have fear is, you know, I'm not scared of dying myself. I'm not scared of anything happening to me. My kids, is I leave my kids alone, and there's nothing I can't get through.
It's almost like a beautiful epiphany, isn't it? It's knowing that you can get through the worst life can throw at you. It almost gives you like this shield of armor, doesn't it? To think, hang on, I know I'm a good guy. I've got the right values. I care about people. I want people to be happy. And it's
Mm.
almost like it's like a superpower. Like
Yeah.
sobriety has given me that superpower. I'm bloody ready for life. Let's embrace it. It's
Yeah.
crazy how life works out, isn't it?
Yeah, well, what you do is you get experience. You know, you're an actor,
Yeah.
experienced actor. I'm a cricketer. I'm an experienced cricketer. Unfortunately, you can become experienced at going through hard times as well, or fortunately, should I say?
Yeah.
So you have to go through those hard times to get the certificate. You know what I mean? So you've gone through your issues, and you know, beating alcohol and being sober. Um, you've got the certificate. You know what I mean? You got the accreditation. You've got
The AAA laminate.
you got the diploma, mate. You know what I mean? You got the little thing hanging down off your
Yeah.
hat. You know what I mean? So it's like you got it. You got the qualifications, and that's, you're not, obviously no one's going to present you with a certificate, but you know it in here, and this is
Yeah.
and that's way more important than any piece of laminate on the wall. And once you know you're capable, you've got those qualifications to deal with it next time it comes up.
You've been involved with the Pakistan national side. Like, is anything lost in translation? How do you work with them, and also using your life skills and experience? You know, you're the batting coach, but almost are you there to help them with a mindset going to the crease to make sure everything's kind of in order mentally, so they can apply their skills out on the cricket pitch?
Yeah, there's a bit that goes into coaching. I mean, and it's like anything. Like, some players are technically gifted, but fall
Yeah,
short on the mental aspect of the game. There's other players who are technically horrible, but mentally very strong. And it's up to you as a coach to kind of decipher where you're going to try and improve on a weakness, or improve a strength, or just round a person's game without taking away from what they've already got, because they're already successful players in themselves. By once they've made it to international cricket, you're a success.
yeah,
And that's kind of one of the things when you're dealing with international cricketers. These guys averaging 40, 50 already in
yeah.
first class cricket. If I tell them to make a change, they're like, well, I'm already averaging 50. Am I prepared to risk that? In case it doesn't work, then I might drop back. So that's one of the hard things with coaching high end individuals.
And you enjoy dipping into the coaching, and you've got a successful TV career as well. Like, variety is the spice of life, isn't it? Does that keep you fresh and, mentally alert and young as well, would you say?
I don't know. I think so, because I've never had a real job. That's pretty surreal. I'm a pretty simple kid. Like, we come from nothing, and I remember there would be times when I'd be out on the pitch and I'd look around and I'd be like, man, they're paying me to do this. There's, like, 30,000 people watching, or out in Australia, 90,000 people watching,
Yeah.
millions on TV, and I'm getting paid to do this. I had to, like, kind of pinch myself. Yeah, I'm kind of still pinching myself. I said, and actually, I'm 53 now, and I'm only 12 years away from the retirement age. I reckon I've got a bloody good chance of getting through life without having to have a real job.
I reckon you're right, Adam. But that's an amazing thing to be able to say you can do that. I mean, it just shows your adaptability, doesn't it? And how likable you are, and how you can blend in with other facets of life. I think it's brilliant.
It is exciting, and I think also when you're doing things you love, when that enthusiasm comes through, you just tend to be better at it. I need different things going on, otherwise I would be just off, like, just losing focus. I would be terrible on a job which was just mindless for me. So I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd get the sack.
You live in a beautiful part of the world. We've just moved up. No, we're just near Liverpool. Actually, we're 10 minutes from the beach. But the importance I place on having that peace and quiet and calm, just to be able to appreciate my life and surroundings. It's, to me, that's joyous. Is that something that you like to tap into as well, just to be able to completely switch off and appreciate life?
Well, probably it's only been the last couple of years that I've actually I have to actively put it in my diary. If I don't do that, then I just keep going. I'll just keep going. So I now I attend church on a Wednesday afternoon now. Just because Sundays are so busy with kids' sport, and
Yeah, I bet.
so I've just sort of had to make time in my diary to go to. I do the rosary on Wednesday lunchtime down here at the local church, and I go down there and look, I'm not going to claim to be the most religious person in the world, but that just enables me to slow down and be grateful for things. I go there and I always pray for people like I'm back in obviously my kids and my family here, and then it gives me an opportunity to like just not think too much about myself and actually be able to go and think about my friends in England, and I pray for them all, and just slow down and just give me a chance to think, because otherwise my brain's just whirring all the time.
Yeah.
Take time to slow down and reset. I need to do that if I don't do it, then people are pretty annoying to be around because my brain's jumping around. So I have to actually do that. And it's only that comes from learning yourself about yourself, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Was it quite hard to slow down during your playing career, Adam? Was it, because it's a busy existence, isn't it, on the county circuit? You're playing here, there, and everywhere, then off for international duty. Um, how would you switch off? Could you switch off, especially as captain?
I didn't ever switch off. Probably when I was asleep. And
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on when you sleep. So I was probably even thinking about it then. But
yeah.
no, I didn't. No, I just didn't. And I'm fortunate in that I'm a great sleeper. I might have been a professional sportsman in 3 different sports, but if sleeping was one, I'd be the undisputed world champion in that.
Olympic gold medal sleeper. Interesting. The importance of sleep as well. I found that over the years, Adam, that I need to have a good recharge. If I haven't recharged my battery, I'm struggling. You know, it's great to be able to have a good old sleep, isn't it? My goodness.
Yeah. Well, I used to be of the mantra, I'll get all the sleep I need when I'm dead. So I probably went through
Yeah.
my whole career on 4 or 5 hours sleep a night.
God.
And I was just like, I'm wasting my life if I'm sleeping. That was my thought, because I was like, if I'm sleeping for 8 hours and I can only sleep for 5, then there's 3 extra more hours I get in the day to accomplish stuff. So I've since, studied sleep and realized that I got that, you know, incorrect, because it shortens your life, and then the standard of your now shorter life is
Yeah.
not what it would be. So it's yeah, it's something now which I don't negotiate on. I'm like, that goes in my diary. I go to sleep and I wake up 8 hours later, and I have a morning routine, and those things all contribute towards me being mentally in a healthy place. So
Yeah, it is fascinating, isn't it? Like my little mantra is I'll get up in the morning, my girlfriend and I will have our coffee. It's a nice little ritual, just easing into the day, and then first task of the day after making a pot of coffee is making the bed, and it's just it's almost little cogs of the mental wheel, isn't it, to guide you through a positive and a productive day.
well, you've had a couple of wins straight away. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah,
you've had your coffee, you've had your nice little start. My early morning jog. I wake up and I take my vitamins. So there's one thing. Then I go straight out onto my balcony here and I sit in the sun. The sun comes up over the ocean this side.
oh
So I sit out there and I just stare straight into the sun for 10 minutes. I get my sun, and then I got a gym downstairs with an ice bath. I go down and have an ice bath, and then I make my bed. So then I've achieved in my mind. I've had 4 or 5 wins in the first half an hour of waking up.
you touch on ice baths. We've had one since September, Adam, and my goodness, a boost for the day. It's they're properly wonderful, aren't they? It's like, especially with the sobriety as well, add to that an ice bath and my God, it revs you up for the day.
It's I listen to quite a few podcasts. I have to drive up to Brisbane to do some coaching with the Queensland side once in a while, and I listen to podcasts, with Gary Brecker and Huberman, and a lot of these guys are, I've bought into a lot of their stuff, and ice baths, early morning sunlight, grounding, getting my feet on the grass, and all these
Yeah.
things are just, they really do work. I've yet to see one of the things they've suggested not work. So now they're non-negotiables for me. I just,
Yeah.
there's all
And
can come and do first thing in the morning. That doesn't happen until I've done my routine.
like you say, they're the non-negotiables. If I'm going to be happy and in a good place, like I need to do these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, they are. They're important, and there are lots of little things. When you do them well, they add up to one very important thing, which is your mental health. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
it's eating well, drinking your water. I've got about 8 non-negotiables, which I don't negotiate for anyone. Like, so I stick to them, and God willing, they'll keep serving me right.
You've done and achieved so much throughout your life, Adam. It must be lovely to see your children play sport, to spend time with your family. And as the older one gets, isn't it lovely when you recognize all the good qualities and traits of your parents, your family? And sometimes, isn't it just bloody lovely when you've had a hectic old life just to sit and absorb that love and just to be with people who know you inside out and who care about you? I don't think that'll ever get old, that feeling.
It's amazing. The other day I went down to the just park down here. My two of my boys play rugby league, and my daughter played Australian rules football. So they're very good with the oval shaped ball, kicking it and whatever. So we stood about 20 meters apart from one another, and we kicked the ball around. And the game was to see how many times you could kick the ball on the fall straight to the person. They catch it, not drop it, and we count each successful completed thing. And we got to like 70 something, which I thought was amazing. But more important than that, I was just sitting there, and you have epiphanies. The sun was going
Yeah.
down, beautiful evening here, and I was like, man, these 3 kids, these 3 people that I've brought into the world, they're so healthy. They're getting on so well with one another. They're still wanting to hang out with their uncool dad, and here we are down here. Here we are down here. I was like, man, this is like the best thing I've ever done in my life, ever. I was like, man, give me this ahead of playing in front of full house for England, because this involves three other favorite people in my life. I was just, and you could try and explain it to someone else. It won't make any sense. But to me, it was
No, I
just.
get it. You're making me smile, Adam. I
Mm.
love that. And my goodness, I bet they eat you out of house and home, don't they? One of the things I like to end asking my guests, Adam, in Benjy's Cafe is, well, I guess you've had yours, but what's on the dinner menu tonight? Like, do you like your food there?
I've got a sponsorship from a butcher's called the Meat Hub, which if I told you, I actually picked up my meat for the week today. I think all in all it was 14 kilos of meat.
Wow.
So
Oh
we
man.
so we we're pretty basic. We're just carnivores. It's just meat and broccoli, eggs,
Nice.
and that's it. We've got some different
Oh
spices
man.
on it, but it's pretty simple. And since I've been doing that, I came down from 115. I've had this sponsorship for about 6 weeks. I've come down from
Yeah.
115 kilos down to 100 kilos. So
Wow, impressive. Oh man, well, if that's on the menu, I'm gonna hop on the next flight. Adam, come round for dinner at yours. Sounds
anytime,
good.
always a
Adam,
pleasure.
it's been great to see you. It's been lovely to hint on your wonderful cricket career. But also, what I've loved and really enjoyed is just having a chat to you away from cricket about life. And I've admired your career from afar as a youngster watching the beautiful game of cricket. But I've really admired the way you've lived your life, and I genuinely want to thank you so much for joining me in Benjy's Cafe today.
Pleasure, mate. And there's so much negativity in the world. We've had some things out here in Australia, like in the shopping centres, and So it's a blessing when you come across people who can just greet you with a smile and positivity. It's like, so when you asked me to come on here, mate, it was never, and didn't have to ask twice, mate.
Adam, it's been great to chat. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining me in Benjy's Cafe. Hope you enjoyed listening to Adam and your coffee too. Make sure you hit follow so every episode gets sent straight to your phone, no booking required, available wherever you get your podcasts. In episode 9, I'll be joined in Benjy's Cafe by the actor Bob Golding. I'll get the kettle on. Have a great day.